Honorable President, I am feeling proud and privileged to have the distinction to express my views on the topic Role of Youth in Nation Building. उक़ाबी रूह जब बेदार होती है जवानों में, उक़ाबी रूह जब बेदार होती है जवानों में, नज़र आती है उनको अपनी मंजिल आसमानों में. When the eagle soul wakes up in youth, they see their destination in the heights of the skies. Mr. President, youth are the developing buds of the garden of a nation. The sound health of the coming flowers depends upon the loving and caring of the birds on the part of the gardener. So is the case with the youth of a nation. Honorable President, youth is the most significant and sensitive phase in the sequence of life phases. This is such a critical stage of life that leads either to the health or malaise of a nation. Mr. President, youth is the engine and energizing force for the uplift and advancement of a nation. That's why our national poet, Dr. Muhammad Iqbal, wishes his youth to have the audacious features of an eagle and the strong realization of responsibilities. जवानों को मेरी आहें सहर दे, फिर इन शाहीन बच्चों को बालो पर दे. खुदाया आरज़ू मेरी यही है, मेरा नूरे बसीरत आम कर दे. Mr. President, youth are the mind full of potential thoughts for the bright future of a nation. Youth may be the shining stars of the destiny of our nation. But, Mr. President, sorry to say, the potentials of our youth can only be materialized and translated into action if our policymakers properly and positively manage the strengths and potentials of our youth. If our youth are not provided with justice and equal opportunities of getting high standard of education and personality development based on modern research-oriented lines, how can we stand shoulder to shoulder in the committee of advanced nation of the world? Mr. President, our talented and competent youth are brain drained into the foreign countries, and thus we are deprived from the fruit of our valuable asset. Mr. President, the main responsibility rests on the shoulders of our high-ups and policymakers to focus on national interest rather than self-vested interest and create congenial, peaceful and friendly environment to the youth so that they may exercise their talent and creativity for the uplift of our nation in connection with scientific, economic and political development. But Mr. President, our situation is still lamentable, as was expressed by Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal in the 20th century. ये इल्म, ये हिकमत, ये तदब्बुर, ये हुकूमत. ये इल्म, ये हिकमत, ये तदब्बुर, ये हुकूमत. पीते हैं लहू, देते हैं तालीम मसावात. Mr. President, youth are building blocks of a nation. It is our good fortune that our youth are 64% of our total population. But Mr. President, it is our bad fortune that we couldn't manage our 64% youth judiciously and positively in the right direction for our national cause of economic, educational, political, psychological, emotional and social development. Mr. President, looking back into history, all momentous and dynamic events took place due to the charismatic leadership which ignited revolutionary spirit in youth. Mr. President, Pakistan movement became successful due to the efforts of visionary personalities like Sir Syed Ahmad Khan and Allama Muhammad Iqbal. The charismatic and dynamic leadership of Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah inspired the youth to make the establishment of Pakistan possible. हजारों साल नरगस अपनी बिनूरी पे रोती है, हजारों साल नरगस अपनी बिनूरी पे रोती है, बड़ी मुश्किल से होता है चमन में दीदावर पैदा. Mr. President, in a nutshell, we can say that as a nation, we have not taken our youth seriously. We have not realized and identified the value of strength and potential of our youth and nation building. Youth are the backbones of our nation. Youth are the minds full of dynamic thoughts of our nation. Mr. President, I would like to appeal to our high-ups and policymakers to realize the significant role of youth in nation building. Provide them with congenial and friendly environment of motivation and inspiration, rather to keep them suppressed, depressed, and oppressed. In the end, I appeal to my youth to contribute wholeheartedly in nation building. खेतों को दे दो पानी, अब बह रही है गंगा। खेतों को दे दो पानी, अब बह रही है गंगा। कुछ कर लो नौजवानों, उठती जवानियां है।